follow different diet patterns. In 2009, the American Diabetes Association published these data. They looked at body mass index. Are you familiar with the body mass index? It's your weight, but it's adjusted for how tall you are. And a healthy body mass index is below 25. So we have almost 61,000 people in this study, and they're divided into 5 groups depending on their diet. So on the left, that red line, those are meat eaters, non-vegetarians. And as you can see, their body mass index is not below 25. It's 28.8. Average meat eaters typically are overweight. The second group, they're called semi-vegetarians. And what that means is they eat meat but less than once a week. And they're a little bit thinner. And the third group, pesco-vegetarian. What is that? Pesco? Okay, fish, but no other meat, only fish. A little bit thinner, but not a lot. And this group, lacto-ovo-vegetarian. Lacto meaning milk. Ovo means eggs. So they might have milk and eggs, but no meat, no fish. They're a little bit thinner. But who is this group? I have to tell my patients that a vegan is not a person from the planet Vegas. A vegan means you don't eat any animal products. No meat, no milk, no fish, nothing, none of that. And they are the only group who, on their average, is in the healthy weight range. But this is not why the American Diabetes Association published these data. They did it because of diabetes, and when you look at diabetes, the meat eaters have a lot of it, the vegans have almost none, and the more you get the animal products out of your diet, the better you do. So my research team said, let's try this. In people who never thought about doing a vegan diet before, we brought in 64 women. They were all moderately to severely overweight. And they had done every diet you can imagine. And we said, stop that. No, we have just 2 rules. The first rule is no animal products. No meat, no dairy, no eggs. Second rule, keep oils to a minimum. So many people take that olive oil bottle and go glug, 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 all over the salad, all over the pasta. No, we're not doing that. But those were the only rules. They could eat as much as they wanted. There was no limit on calories, no limit on carbohydrate, no limit on portion size of food. We asked them not to change their exercise patterns, and it was a 14-week study. And when people came in, we said, this is what we want you to use as your diagram. Eat from the power plate. Fruits, grains, vegetables, and legumes. Legumes are beans or lentils or peas. And so what that really means, if I'm thinking in terms of actual meals, well, it might mean a breakfast of blueberry pancakes or oatmeal porridge or a cantaloupe or toast. Or if I have linguine with artichoke hearts, seared oyster mushrooms, fine. By the way, these are not oysters, those are mushrooms. But no meat sauce, no cheese sauce, no Alfredo sauce, none of that. At 14 weeks, the average person had lost 13 pounds, that's good, and 2 inches off their waistline. Their insulin sensitivity was improved, which we measure with something called glucose tolerance testing. And we tracked them for 1 year, and they were thinner at 1 year than at the beginning. And we then tracked them at 2 years, and they were thinner at 2 years than at 1 year, meaning unlike every other diet they had followed, where the weight goes down and then it goes back up, in this case, it was a one-way street. They lost weight and kept it off. Which makes sense, because if you follow a calorie-counting diet and you're hungry, By about Wednesday, you are ready to eat the refrigerator. It's too difficult. But if I simply say, put something different on your spaghetti, that's not hard to do. And you're never hungry, so you have no reason to ever stop it. Very easy. Okay, so wait a minute. I just said you could eat all the pancakes you want to, and you're going to lose weight? How can that be? Well, the first thing is fiber. Fiber is in every plant food in nature, and it leads to satiety, meaning it makes you feel full. It makes you feel satisfied. It tells the brain, I've had enough food. And so all of these foods, beans, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, they all have lots and lots of fiber in them. However, sausage is not a plant, so it has no fiber at all. And every calorie in sausage or in chicken or in cheese or in milk goes into your body, undiluted, and that's why people tend to gain weight. All right, so the second thing, and this will not be on the test, but I want to share with you anyway, something called the thermic effect of food. I call it also the after-meal burn. Here's what happens. Patients come into our study, and they say, oh, Dr. Barnard, something's wrong with my metabolism. I can't burn calories anymore. When I was 16 years old, I could eat anything, and I wouldn't gain any weight at all. But now I just look at food, and I gain weight. I don't know, my metabolism must be very slow. And you know what? It's true. Their metabolism is slow, and I can measure it. They come into my laboratory. They lie down on a table, and I measure with a special device on their face, I measure the oxygen they're taking in and the carbon dioxide that they are breathing out. And that will tell me how fast they are burning calories. And it's very slow. And at that point, I give them breakfast. And once they have breakfast, they are absorbing the nutrients in that food, and their metabolism goes up, and it stays higher than normal for about 3 hours, or maybe longer, maybe 4 hours, maybe 5 hours. That happens every time you eat. However, now we are going to start a vegan diet. No animal products at all, keep the oils low, and come back in, and then what I discover is you lie on the same table, and I will feed you the same breakfast. But what I find is that your metabolism is faster than before. It's higher. You're burning calories about 16% faster than before. That's not a lot. But if you burn calories for 16% faster after breakfast and after lunch and after dinner 7 days a week, you're going to be thinner than the person who didn't think about trying out your diet. Okay? So why does that happen? Wait a minute. A vegan diet makes me burn calories faster? Here's what happens. This is a muscle cell. I take a needle, put it in my arm, pull out one muscle cell. And the reason we're talking about muscles, you've heard people say that your muscles burn calories. You don't want to lose your muscles. That's what burns calories. That's true. This is a muscle cell, and inside it, there are mitochondria. You remember the mitochondria. Those are burners. They turn food into energy. And you have a lot of them. But you have something else. You have fat. Fat inside the cell. Now, scientists don't like a word like fat. It's only got 3 letters. So we call it intramyocellular lipid, but it's fat inside the cell is what it is. And if I'm eating chicken fat, or beef fat, or fryer grease, or olive oil, or extra virgin olive oil, or extra virgin olive oil, or any kind of fat, here's what happens. It comes into my cells, It builds up this is not belly fat. This is not fat on my thighs. It's fat inside the muscle cells. And the only way to see it is with a special scanning device called MR spectroscopy. A person can be quite thin, but if they have fat building up in the cell, we can see it. All right? So what happens? When I have fat building up in my cells, the cell reacts to it. It says, hooray, this is good. I want fat, because if there's suddenly a time of famine, if there's no food around, if I have fat inside my cell, I will survive. And so your cells are programmed to keep that fat inside the cell and not to let it go. And if you have all of these mitochondria burning up the fat, then you're losing it. So what does your cell do? When the fat comes into the cell and the cell knows it's there, it reduces its production of mitochondria to save the fat. And that means your metabolism is going to slow down and you're going to have trouble burning off fat. So fat in cells slows down your after-meal burn. Are you with me? So if I'm on a vegan diet, how much animal fat is in my diet? None. Zero. And if I keep the vegetable oils low, then this fat starts to dissipate. It starts to go away. And as that fat goes away, then my after-meal burn comes back. So why are people following a vegan diet? Why do they get thin? Even if they are not counting calories, even if they don't exercise, why do they tend to be thinner? Because number one, the fiber satisfies their appetite. And number two, they have a better metabolism. Not a lot, just a little bit, but that's all it takes to be slim.